On this week's episode of the Pit Crew podcast, we review this weekend's 70th anniversary Grand Prix and compare our predictions from last week to what happened in real life. Hello and welcome to the Pit Crew podcast. My name's Ed, this is my co-host Dylan, and yesterday was the 70th anniversary Grand Prix, the second race held at Silverstone. Max Verstappen took a surprise victory there. I think Mercedes struggled on the more aggressive, softer two-stop strategy that most cars were using in the race due to the delamination that happened with the hard Pirellis last week at the British Grand Prix, also held at Silverstone. Now we have to compare, as always, our predictions from last week to what actually happened. My qualifying top five was Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, Leclerc, Norris. And the actual qualifying top five was Bottas, Hamilton, Hülkenberg, Verstappen, Ricciardo. Now, I'm pretty sure I got nothing there. That was all wrong. Did Verstappen cut? Yeah, that was all wrong. So nothing. 0 out of 5 for me. Dylan, hopefully you did better in predicting the qualifying outcome than I did. Well done to Hülkenberg though. P3.
I predicted Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, Leclerc, Ricciardo.
And Ricciardo, you did well at that.
I got one.
Yeah, you got one.
I got Ricciardo.
It's the interesting one to predict because I wasn't expecting him to do that well. He had a shocking race, a spin about nearly in the middle, somewhere towards the end. He had a spin which sent him down to P14. Sadly, he was looking to have another strong race. Renault had a good race last week, but came to nothing. Anyway, what did we think would happen in the race? My podium prediction was Hamilton, Bottas, Leclerc. And what actually happened, I'm really not doing very well, was Verstappen, Hamilton, Bottas, and I have that's all wrong again. Really, I'm doing especially bad. I'm never usually very good at this, but I'm doing especially bad this time. 0 out of 3 again, Dylan.
I'm joining you with a 0 out of 3.
Oh, 0 out of 3.
Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen.
Yeah. We're pretty bad at that. Don't come to the Pit Crew podcast if you want quality predictions for the race.
Only for qualifying.
Only for qualifying, and then it's only 1 out of 5. So just don't come here for quality predictions, basically.
Now we're gonna lose views now.
Oh no, we're not going to lose views. Don't worry, we have a loyal fan base. Anyway, the race was pretty good. Obviously, we didn't watch it live because we don't have Sky Sports F1. But Verstappen's, I think his strategy, it was a gamble. I think it nearly didn't work out from what I've been reading about what happened in the Grand Prix, but it was very close to whether it would work out. You saw Bottas when he came in for, I think, Verstappen's second pit stop. Bottas was, he was just coming along the pit straight, and Verstappen, he could have been stuck behind Bottas for the rest of the race, and Bottas would have gone off into the sunset, but Verstappen was on newer tyres, and the aggression from, he knew when he had to strike, and it was immediately, and he did it, and he got past him, and he just drove away. I think Verstappen was chief hydration officer again. I think he told maybe on the last lap his engineers to drink again.
Last lap, yeah.
Yeah. I think this is becoming a sort of thing. Verstappen is chief hydration officer for the Red Bull team. Anyway, the tyres were struggling in the heat. If you don't know, it's a heat wave here in the UK. It's baking where we're recording this. Yesterday was also very hot, and you can see, I don't know if anyone's seen some pictures, we may put one on screen later, but the tyres at the end of the race, they are especially I think the correct term is blistered or just really, really damaged. But Mercedes had problems keeping them cool because track temperature was probably something about like 50 degrees, which is sort of stuff you get in Singapore, not around here. Anyway, was not much actually happened in the race. It was more of I'd say a strategic race than a action race. Would you agree with that, Dylan?
Yeah, it wasn't as interesting
It wasn't
as last
as
week.
well. I'd say that last week the only reason it was interesting was the last couple of laps. No, I think that the 2 stops made it more strategic because Verstappen's double stop was very aggressive. It worked out because Mercedes was did Mercedes do a 1 stop or a 2
Two-stop.
stop? Pretty sure they did a 2 stop as well.
I think
But Mercedes
everybody
went
did.
on to the hards. I think no, Leclerc definitely did a 1 stop.
Oh, did he?
So, some people went out there and did 1 stops, and I think one Williams did a 3 stop. The Williams of Russell did the 3 stop. But yeah, most people were on the 2 stop. But Mercedes just really has trouble keeping the tire temperatures down, and Verstappen didn't, because Mercedes I think they started on the mediums and then went to the hards, and Red Bull I think did the same, but they just struggled with the temperatures. As we've said, it was more of a strategic race, but areas where there was action was Alex Albon making some cracking overtakes. I think he did about 3 or 4 overtakes around the outside of Copse. You know, we rode on board with him. I think it was Hulkenberg or no Stroll, one of the racing points, and he was pretty much on the curb the whole way down the old pit straight, and just hooked it around the outside, and got him. He was making some good moves. He's trying to prove. He's seen what Red Bull do when they don't have a driver performing. He's proving that he deserves that seat, and I think he does. He's one of my favourite drivers on the grid, and he definitely does deserve that seat. I think he just doesn't have either he isn't a qualifying person, he's got better race pace than quali pace, or his car just isn't as good in qualifying for some reason. It's just not so good over 1 lap pace. I think the Red Bulls are quite good at tyre management. They might be a bit nicer on the tyres, but they just don't seem to be as good. Or, as I said, Albon's not very good at extracting the maximum out of the car over that 1 lap with all the pressure that's on him. What was your best moment in the race, Dylan?
The Mercedes had a little battle. Can't remember which. After, I don't know what the corner name is.
The loopy one. The loop.
Yes, the loopy one.
No, there is one called the loop, so we can't say that. I apologise to anyone who's screaming the corner name. It's the one it's very long and then it goes into another long.
The right-hander.
Yeah, it's a left-hander to a right-hander.
Yes, that one.
That one.
A quick left and a long right.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but whatever it is.
I don't know many track names, corner names.
Then, yeah.
Like they did last year, they had a little battle.
Yeah.
Made it exciting.
Yeah. It as I said, strategic race more than a constant action. We didn't get a single safety car. Kevin Magnussen retired. I don't think he took anyone else out, but he retired last week as well. He's just not on it at the moment, sadly. I think neither of the Haas drivers are cut out for F1, sadly. No. They're good drivers, and I couldn't do anything of what they do, but they're definitely not the drivers that Haas needs, especially as they're going through a troubling moment right now. And well, I just think that Gene Haas, he's paying for that team, so with such poor drivers, if the results aren't coming, he doesn't want to pay anymore. He won't pay anymore. I don't think we've ever had so few as 9 teams. So in Formula One, probably might have done back in the old days, but not for a while. So that'd be sad to see us go down to that few drivers. But it may happen. I hope it doesn't, but it may happen. Anyway, moving on from idle chit chat and predictions, and we're awful at predictions, so no point in talking about that. What was your biggest disappointment in the race, Dylan?
Biggest disappointment was not seeing Kevin reach the checker flag again. So, like he did last week,
Yeah.
retiring
That
from
was,
the race yet again.
I keep saying this. The Williams not scoring a point. Please.
They got good quality pace, not very good race pace.
Yeah, it's just...
They'll get there.
Yeah, they'll get there. You know, they're on the up. They're definitely on the up from last year and 2018. So I still hold out hope for them. Another disappointing thing, Vettel spinning all by himself in turn 1. Vettel, we need to stop making the meme true. Please stop making the spinning meme true. Anyway, what was your biggest surprise of the race, Dylan?
Biggest surprise of the race? Well, I don't think mine's the biggest surprise of the race. Just qualifying, Nico getting P3.
Yeah, that was a pretty surprising thing for the weekend. We'll change it to biggest surprise of the weekend.
Yes.
Just to be nice to you, I'm going to try and stick to the race. Carlos Sainz not getting any points again. He said in an interview it feels like nothing's going his way. He's going to have to get used to some bad races though. He's joining Ferrari next year, so you know it's all preparation. No, I was disappointed to see Carlos Sainz down in P13, hoping he could improve after his qualifying, and Lando Norris in P9. That was also quite disappointing. Not the best day for McLaren. Only two championship points for the whole team. Not great in my opinion. Really. It's better than nothing. It's a lot better than Williams, but it's not what a team that should be winning races should be getting at such iconic tracks where they used to win most years. Anyway, we're still going to reminiscing about the good old days at McLaren. Anyway, overall verdict for the race. What do you think, Dylan? Was it good? Was it bad?
I personally think it wasn't good at all. Some bits were a bit interesting, but there wasn't much action. It was more strategic, as you said earlier. Wasn't much battling going on.
Yeah, I'd say it was an okay race. We're not complaining though. Formula One is back, and that's all that matters. But I'd say it's not as good as last weekend's because I like the two-stop. The two-stop was good. Don't get me wrong, but I wanted a bit more action in there. There was just, from what I've seen of it, just not enough action in that Grand Prix. The two stops made it more interesting, but we need more action. Come on, F1. Anyway, I think that brings us to the end of this week's episode of the Pit Crew podcast, our race report for the 70th anniversary Grand Prix. We will be back for Spain on either Wednesday or Thursday for our predictions for that Grand Prix. I think Sergio Perez will be back in the car, but you know, it's sad to see Hulkenberg go. But I'm in two minds. Do I want Perez back? Do I want Hulkenberg to stay? I want both of them in F1. That's the answer. Just get rid of Stroll. Get rid of Stroll, and it would solve all the problems.
Buy another car.
Yeah, I mean they can afford that. So.
Exactly.
There we go. That's solutions. If you're listening, Lawrence Stroll, that's the solution to how to get Hulkenberg in F1.
Racing point.
Yeah, 3 cars. I don't even know, the F1 regulations probably don't allow that. But anyway,
in the olden days, they did.
Spanish Grand Prix next weekend, and then after that we are going to, I think, Belgium for Spa, which is a Grand Prix that usually is good. Hopefully we get some wet weather action there. Anyway, for the meantime, I've been Ed.
And I've been Dylan. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.